Hey guys, my name is Bethany. Thank you for joining me on my channel. This video is going to be all about Mexico, our trip to Mexico, our trip to an orphanage, just our experience here, and I hope you guys enjoy just the little tidbits that I've learned through these past couple days of being in a different country. We decided to do a family trip a couple months back, and we planned it so that we were going to go down to Southern California, and then into Mexico. Long story, I'm not going to go into the details, but we got connected with an orphanage down in Tecate, Mexico, which is about an hour and a half away from Tijuana, which is where we're staying at an Airbnb. And we ended up going to the orphanage actually today, and that's really the main thing I want to share about, is just my experience at the orphanage, and then on the way there, just the culture here and everything like that. The main thing, so when we were driving into Tecate, the one thing that was so shocking to me was the amount of trash everywhere, the condition of the roads, just how perfect America is compared to, and I don't mean to say that to like degrade Mexico, but just like everything in America is so well put together. The roads are nice. There's, if there's a bump in the road, it gets fixed pretty quickly. Not so in Mexico. Like, you drive down the road, there's like potholes everywhere, and there's curbs that are falling apart, and there's posts that are falling into the road. You'll drive by, huge hillsides, because there's just tons and tons of these really big hills, rolling hills, and just massive amounts of trash. People just dump their trash wherever they can find it. I guess they don't have a trash service here. Like, I don't see any trash cans here or anything like that. I don't know what people do with their trash. I'm assuming some people take it to the actual dump. We did see one dump that was closer to Tecate, and it was just overflowing with trash, like no organization to it at all. So that was one thing that was like super shocking to me. There is a stench, like even here, I'm sitting outside the Airbnb, and like it just kind of smells like poop. And not to be rude, but that's just kind of what it smells like a lot of places that you go. So anyway, driving into the orphanage, that was something that was super shocking. And I will say that the poverty level got, like, it just seemed to get greater as we went into Tecate. So I guess Tecate is just doesn't have as much wealth. So anyway, we got to the orphanage, and immediately we were greeted by a bunch of kids. They have older children, they have younger children, but there was probably about 10 to 12 older children, ages 7 all the way up to 16 years old. Immediately, super, super sweet kids, just really, really warm, really welcoming to us. They were very interested in our 1-year-old and our 6-month-old, which was pretty cool that they connected so quickly with them. So we did that, and then the other thing is they also have a little kids section, which had about 7 infants in this little kids section. So the thing that broke my heart the most, I would say, is going to the younger kids section, the baby section. There was babies there that were like infants, like probably a couple weeks old, all the way up to like maybe almost 2 years old. When we walked into the actual orphanage, all the babies were in their beds. I don't know if that's just a normal thing. They had one worker for 7 babies. The lady there said that they had as many up to 17 babies under the age of 2. It only had one worker. So sometimes they said that they can afford 2, but that to me was shocking, because being a mother of 2 children under the age of 2, like, I feel like I run in circles, and I'm like, how does she do this, like, and stay sane? All these babies on these different schedules. So anyway, walking in a scene that was very sobering for me, seeing all the different babies. They were actually just getting over a sickness, so I was trying to be careful. If I didn't have a little 7-month-old, I would have picked them up and everything like that. But because I have a little baby, I was just trying to be cautious. That was very hard not to pick them up, because, when you walk into the room, they're just sitting on, holding onto the bars, and you can just tell they're just so hungry for attention. They're so hungry for physical touch. Like, it's just like a physical need that you can sense in there. So that was just really convicting, because you walk in there, you just want to take them all home. That's just a natural instinct. But it's not all, taking a child into your home is not all rainbows and butterflies, and I know that from personal experience. It's a lot of hard work, it's sacrifice. And so just the reality of like what those kids' needs are is so heavy. But I will say that as we left there, we went over to the bigger kids section. The big kids, you could just feel when you're around them, like any bit of love and attention that you gave them was so well received. Like, I am someone who senses things, like when I'm around people, I felt them like want attention. You know, they were just so hungry for anything, just a piece of candy or just a hug. Or like this one boy who was 16 was so impressive. Like he had taught himself piano, and he wanted to. I play piano too, so he wanted to show me his piano songs and what he played. And you could just tell he was just lighting up. You know, with someone showing interest in him. And my husband and I were like, well, you know, there's a language barrier. My husband and I do not know Spanish, and we're terrible at it. But we were trying to kind of talk with him and to say, hey, like, where are your parents? You know, what happened? And he was like, I don't know. You could just tell that there was a deep hurt there. So the reason why I'm sharing all this is because what God is just really speaking to me is that, you know, I realize that not everybody is in the season of being able to bring a child into their home. I get that. We're not in a season. We have 5 biological children, not in a season to bring in a baby or an older, you know, we're not in that season. But I guess what God is challenging me with is, what is my part in playing in the role of adoption? You know, a lot of people or orphans, you know, a lot of people think of adoption as like, oh, I have to adopt a child and bring them in my home, take care of them forever and ever, amen. Like, no, that's not the case. There are so many different areas I feel like that we can help with adoption. Maybe that's financial is a huge thing. Like, I was, by the grace of God, there was a lot of people that that helped me raise money to bring to the orphanage. So that's a huge area. You know, like the guy was telling me, like the tractor for their fields broke down because that's how they raise money. They have olive fields, and so they need this part to fix, but they don't have the money. And so like stuff like that is such a huge need. And I would say that at least for the orphanage that we went to, it's not really a need to like bring clothes and high chairs and stuff like that. Like I saw this section of the orphanage that was literally overflowing with clothes and all this stuffed animals, and it's like they don't really need that much. It's just monetary donations for like the workers that help with the kids, for they have a garden that they grow corn and all these different things. They have maintenance on the property, they have maintenance on the house, they have work, you know, the workers and the food. And you know, there's just so many. I guess I didn't really realize that, you know, that there's so many things like that you could give towards. There's also, you know, maybe God is calling you to just go to an orphanage somewhere. I mean, there's orphanages everywhere. Just go there and be there, and don't just show up one day. And you know, not that that's wrong, but developing that relationship. Like I know that, you know, something that I heard at the orphanage today, it helps so much to have that relationship with someone, as opposed to just showing up one time and you know, say, oh, hi, nice to meet you, and leave and never come back. Like these kids have major attachment issues and major trauma issues, and so for them to develop that relationship is so huge. And so these are just a couple things that like God is just showing me in ways that we can be involved as the church. Not even if you're not a Christian. Like there were people there today at the orphanage that were loving on these kids. They weren't believers, and that's great. You know, like praise God. You know, these kids need so much, and so just asking God, like, what is our part? Because God does call us to love on the orphans, and to pure and undefiled religion is taking care of the widows and the orphans. And so that's just what I feel challenged with. The other thing is that, you know, to live simply. Like these people in this country live so simply. Like our standard of living in America is unbelievable. It is very almost embarrassing to me, like how we live compared to how these people live, because it's just so different. Like there's just it's so convicting to me, like the things that I throw a fit about during the day, and these people like live so much more differently than us, you know, like living in these little tiny little square boxes, and they bang pieces of wood together and tarps and tires on top. Now everyone here doesn't live like this. Airbnb is a nice place, like there are nice houses here, but the majority of the culture lives in poverty, you know. So anyway, just a challenge to me in my life in America when I go back is to live simply, to you know, like when I'm at Target and I feel like I need something, it's like, no, I don't really need that, you know. It's like, save that money and give it to someone who really needs it, or give it to a ministry that God has laid on your heart to give to. So I'm just really challenged at the core of how I live, and not out of a duty, not out of a religious, like, I have to do this, but it's just like my heart's really been changed, you know, through seeing this. And it's not just like pictures on a Samaritan's Purse pamphlet. It's not just, you know, something that's so far away. It's like it's from California. I mean, it literally is right down the road, hours and hours. It's a little drive, but so anyway, I just wanted to share this with the world out there to raise awareness. You know, ask the Lord, or ask yourself, you know, what is it that I can do to give back? whatever that looks like. So thank you guys for listening. I know I haven't shared in a really long time, but please subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna be posting another video about the actual footage of the orphanage. My husband and I are gonna get together. We have to be careful because there has to be some blurry faces over the adult children for privacy reasons. But anyway, I'm just hoping that it just challenges us in our faith and challenges us to really start living outside of our American culture, American bubble that is so protected, and just we're so blessed, and we are called to give back. So anyway, love you guys. Thank you for listening, and have a great night. Bye.